Greetings and salutations, my friends, and welcome to a new vlog. I have not weekly vlogged in ages. I have done challenge vlogs, I have done the weekend vlogs, the slow days in my life. I have not, however, especially not this year, done a full-on weekly vlog where I just take you on an entire week in my life and we share all bits and pieces together. Which is why today we are doing exactly that. I think this upcoming week is going to be very exciting. Lots of things to do, lots of things to catch up on, lots of things to leave ready before the new month, as well as some hopefully exciting reading. I have a crochet workshop today, and just overall, I want to share with you guys what the weeks in my life have been looking like as of late, that I have been really prioritizing just enjoying life and appreciating every minute, every hour, every interaction with the people around me, and that I am not so focused on being perhaps as chronically online as I used to be, and where I'm allowing myself to just enjoy life as is. So I'm very excited to bring you guys on a week just like that and see what we can make of it. News, I dyed my hair, I cut my hair. You guys have not seen this. This happened last week. However, this happened because I was sick and tired of my hair. I could not do it anymore. I was tired of the highlights. I was tired of the length, so I went to the hair salon, told my stylist I want to go back brunette, but not my regular shade because it's really dark, and anytime anybody matches the shade of my scalp, it ends up looking nearly black. So I told her I want like a bright brunette, and she said we can go kind of auburn because that would look really beautiful on you. And I said, okay, say less. So we did, and I'm low-key obsessed with the hair, obsessed with the end result, so thought I'd present her to you guys. We also have fully healed tattoos now. This is fully healed. This right here, you can barely see that, but it's fully healed. Things have happened. Everybody has been asking me if I'm going through some big life changes, and I'm like, maybe, I don't know. But we are shedding, we are renewing, and we are doing what needs to get done, let me tell you that much. And you didn't hear this from me, but I am absolutely planning some more tattoos for relatively soon. That to say, however, the plans today, currently streaming with my patrons. This stream is almost over. We're about to end in like 15 minutes or so. Then I need to go to a crochet workshop, which is hosted by one of my besties. I'm gonna take you guys with me. We're gonna record a little bit. We're gonna be making a mug sleeve. I don't know what we're calling it, but it's like this cozy sleeve for a mug. It's beautiful. I love it. So we're going to be making that. However, the crochet workshop is from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. Plenty of time, and I know I'm probably going to be done with the crocheting in about an hour to an hour and a half. So I'm gonna take a book with me. We're also probably gonna order food when I'm there because they have like empanaditas and stuff, but nothing like a meal. So I'm gonna order some food. We're gonna have lunch there, have a nice cozy drink, and I have been eyeing one of the books that they brought recently. They have several copies of it, so I know they have it, and today might be the day I actually take it home with me, so might do a little bit of book shopping. You did not hear that from me, however. And I know the book I'm taking with me as well. I sampled a couple of things this morning because I didn't know what to pick up, so let me show you. Also, let me show you what I'm currently actually already reading that I'm not necessarily vibing with, which is why we're gonna start another book. So let's hope one of these two things work out for me, because if they don't, then we're gonna have to figure out what to do all over again. The thing I'm gonna start today is actually A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen. I've been meaning to read this for a while, and if you guys watch my TBR videos, then you know I put this in a TBR a couple of months ago. It might have been almost a year ago, but I have no concept of time, so I really wouldn't know. But this one, I really want to start today. I sampled it this morning. I'm vibing with it, so let us hope I'll end up enjoying this one. I am tussling right now between a fantasy mood and then a literary fiction mood, but also a romance mood. I'm a little bit all over the place, so I feel like this might give me the fantasy and the romance if done well, because I know this is a fantasy romance. You guys already know I don't tend to do that well with that genre. It's very hard for me to find things that I'll actually enjoy, but I'm hoping this author will do it for me. I have never read anything by her. I have heard great things about A Fate Inked in Blood though, so I have hopes that that will do the trick. I am currently reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, however, by V.E. Schwab. not enjoying this so much. I am enjoying Maria's POV, but outside of that, this book is not hitting nearly as well as I thought that it would. I thought the book was gonna give me Addie LaRue vibes, maybe some similar writing to it, and alas, it is not. But we pushed through because this is my Patreon book club pick from last month, and I am attempting my hardest to finish this so we can actually have a good live show for it, at least with some semblance of discussion. V. Schwab and we might not be shaking hands from now on. And before we get started with today's video, I do have to give a massive shout out to Skims for partnering with me on today's video. I have to be honest, and I have to say that before wearing Skims, I used to be the type of girl that wore just about any piece of underwear, regardless of how uncomfortable it was. And Skims truly made me understand that underwear shouldn't be an afterthought. It should be something that makes you feel confident, something that makes you feel ready to tackle the day, and that is comfortable on the everyday while still maybe giving you a little bit of an oomph if that's what you're looking for. And their Fits Everybody collection truly achieves that. If you look at my underwear drawer, I have overhauled it and it is filled with Skims, from their scoop bralette to their triangle bralette, their t-shirt bra, all the way to the high-waisted thong, the boy shorts, and the full briefs. I have something to choose from every day that I know will make me feel my most confident. My biggest highlight from the Fits Everybody collection really is the fabric. Above all else, above all designs, it really is the way that the undies feel. When you look at their undies, it's very stretchy fabric. So when you put these on, they fit snugly without feeling constricting, but it still has a soft shapewear feel to it so that you do feel it is molding you and smoothing you over. The bras as well are super comfortable, even the ones that actually have wiring in them. The back is super thick so that you feel supported and you don't feel like it's clinging to all of those weird spots. They hold the girls up quite nicely, even regardless of which model you are using. And for me, the biggest win of the Fits Everybody collection is that their options are so wide that regardless of which types of clothes you use, how you like to wear underwear, there is truly an option for everybody. So if you would like to check Skims out, I will be leaving my link at the top of the description. You can go to skims.com/MelReads, browse their Fits Everybody collection, see what they have got to offer. They do have a post-order survey that you can fill out. You can click on YouTube, tell them that Bestie Mel sent you. If you do decide to treat yourself to a little something, don't say I didn't tell you, and maybe we can be matching with our Fits Everybody pieces. Back home, friends, welcome back. I just got back from the crochet workshop. I also just noticed I came in, washed my hands, did not put the rings back on. Does not matter. I came back home for two reasons. One, I thought I got my period, did not get my period. Second of all, I did finish the mug really early, so I sat down and I started reading A Fadington Blood. We need to talk about it because I think I'm gonna start annotating the book. Then things happened. I bought 2 books, some annotation tools. I got an empanada to go so that I could heat this up when I got home and I could make myself another matcha because I'm really craving the matcha that I make at home, which has the vanilla cold foam because it is superior to anything else I can have out on the streets. And then sit down and read some more of a Fate Inked in Blood. So those are the plans at present. Let me show you the mug, the final product. First of all, a mug, okay? It is ginormous. I told Gabby, I was like, I don't know who would drink anything from here except soup, because this is like an astronomical size of anything you might have, tea, coffee, anything. So for me, this is gonna be a tomato soup moment, a little pumpkin soup moment, any type of soup moment, so that I don't have to worry about a bowl, because there's plenty of space in here for that. Because this, anything else, I would not put in there. It's too big, but the project though, gorgeous. And then I got a couple of things at the bookshop that I thought I would show you. First thing I got were some tabs, because I have some tabs in my desk drawer. However, most of the ones I have right now are like darker sort of beige reds. And I figured I could toss in a little bit of color, and they had a ton of different options. So I got a lot of variety. This one that I feel would fit a Fate Inked in Blood quite well, because I do want to annotate the book. This one might also fit it very well. But yeah, I just got a ton of different colors so that depending on the book I'm picking up, I have different options for said books. I also got two different books, one which I'm hoping I will not regret, and that is A Curse Carved in Bone. This is the second book to a Fate Inked in Blood. I did start a Fate Inked in Blood while I was sitting at the bookshop, and I really am enjoying it. I didn't think I would enjoy it this much right off the bat. I'm hoping that feeling doesn't change, mostly because this was right there and it was the only one they had, and I couldn't pass it up, because I did get my paperback from that same bookshop and I saw this today and I was like, it's perfect. So got a matching edition. The second one might as well. I'm hoping I don't regret it. I really am. So I got that one. And then I got Cat's People, which I did see when I went book shopping at that same bookshop a couple of weeks ago. And I didn't get it because I wasn't sure if I would like it up until I actually saw how the book starts, because I sampled it. And we basically follow Cat, a stray cat, who makes these bonds with 5 different strangers, and the book starts out in the cat's POV. I'm not sure if that'll be the same all throughout. If I had to guess, it'll probably switch out POVs depending on which stranger we are talking about. The book literally starts with the world according to Cat. Cat knew to stay in the shadows. At night it was a piece of cake, but in the daytime, when shadows were few and far between, he had to search for objects that would hide him from strangers. Shiny black dumpsters, alleyways with fresh asphalt, planter boxes with overgrown hedges. Because Cat was wise. In the many years he'd spent living on the streets, he'd figured out 2 things. Most people didn't like strays. Black cats were considered bad luck. But then it says, but Cat did have a few friends. Maybe not quite friends, but people he trusted enough not to hide from. People with kind eyes, soft voices, and hearts that weren't completely made of stone. Those people were his people. In fact, they were the only people in his universe. Everyone else was a blur, a movement, a shape. They were just there, and he didn't care one bit about them, because he wasn't one of those silly dogs who'd wag their tails at every single stranger who'd pass them by. Cat was too proud to stoop so low. His people would come to him, not the other way around. People were there to serve cats, and maybe once in a blue moon, if they were so inclined, cats would do something in return. And you guys already know, I'm a cat lady, so I do absolutely no favors in my favor to not look like a crazy cat lady. So I got that book as well, because I gave in. And those are my updates. I'm gonna go ahead and make a matcha, reheat my little empanada, and then we're going to turn on all the fairy lights in the office and lounge and read some more of a Fate Inked in Blood. I'll literally see you in about a minute. But to me, it'll probably be a little bit longer than that. friends. It is mighty late and I want to give you one last update before I take off the makeup, head to bed, and then wake up early tomorrow because we do have to go grocery shopping first thing in the morning so that we can then come back and host some sprints for Patreon. However, A Fadington Blood. I've been reading this. I've been here in the office for about, I think, an hour or so. I read about 30 pages when I was at the bookshop, and I just got to page 109, which is the start of chapter 12, and I am annotating the book. I am having a great time. I am listening to my little fantasy reading playlist. The ambiance is great. The book is great. In this one, we follow our main character, Freya, who has been in a loveless marriage for a little over a year at the start of the book. Said marriage has pushed her to push aside her yearning to become a warrior, and instead she spends her everyday gutting fish. Her entire life she has had to hide the very secret that a goddess has bestowed upon her blessing in order to use some of her magic, which makes Freya the shield maiden that is prophesied to unite the fractured nation under the rule of a single king. Her powers, just imagine Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four. That level of cuntiness is what I imagine her powers to look like whenever she summons them. So she does have some sort of force field magic that essentially protects not only her but the people around her. She doesn't quite know how to use her gift perfectly at the start of the book, so I will assume there are catches to it and things that we don't yet know that we will get to discover alongside her throughout her journey. However, at the start of the book, we do see that a Jarl is vying for her hand in marriage because he thinks that he's the one king that is going to unite the nation by controlling her and her gift. And so this fanatical Jarl basically grabs her, takes her under his wing in a very forceful way, and commands his son Bjorn to train her in all things combat, not only hand to hand, but also with her magic, which she has yet to master fully, and the story goes from there. Obviously, the romance is between her and Bjorn, because this is a fantasy romance. Things happen at the beginning of the book, so it is alluded that that will happen at some point or other. I am very curious to see how that's going to work out because their chemistry is very, very out there. I'm really enjoying the way that they're kind of bonding immediately, and there's this very flirty nature to their dynamic, which I don't tend to connect to very often and as quickly with these types of books. I feel like often I'll read a fantasy romance and think, ugh, so early on, I don't really feel the chemistry. It's out of place. There's not enough development. But something about these two just makes sense to me. And the way that Daniel L. Jensen is writing and describing all of their scenes together makes it seem somewhat realistic to me, despite being only 100 pages in. So I'll keep you updated on that front. I also am really loving the Norse mythology take to the magic system, to the characters, and the imagery that it's painting, and the atmosphere of it all, and the way that the battle scenes are taking place is also very brutal, kind of making me think of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, those sorts of vibes, which is also kind of great. And then the way that everybody's treating Freya is really messing with me, and I want to fight for her, and I also want to fight her because she isn't really standing on business. Like, she's not putting people in their place because she has been taught to know her place her entire life. And so at this point, she is very self-sacrificing, and she knows that in order for the people in her life that matter most to stay safe and be safe, she has to always put herself and her own happiness and enjoyment on the line, because the happiness of others is riding on her doing what needs to be done, which is so infuriating because you can tell that the people around her do not give a fuck about this girl. They do not care. They do not love her because nobody is concerned about where she's going, what they're gonna do to her, not even offering up an ounce of help because they're like, oh yeah, girl, you got it. Thank you for keeping us safe, in fact. And it is a federal crime that this girl has nobody on her side but Bjorn at this point, but it's still crazy. So just know, so far, I am having a good time with this. I can't wait to keep on reading this tomorrow during sprints. I think this is going to be a lot of fun to make more progress with, and it's honestly super easy to read, which I think was my main concern when I had initially put this in a TBR, was that I thought for some reason that this book would be denser. I don't know. I think it's maybe because I didn't have any experience with the author that I was like, oh, I don't know how she writes. Like, I don't know if it's dense, not dense, accessible. But honestly, this is so much fun so far. I'll keep you updated when we read more of this tomorrow. Again, so far so good. And I'll probably go down a rabbit hole of looking at aesthetic pictures and videos and reels and whatever of this book so that I can see fan art. I'm scared of spoiling myself, but I feel like that always makes me more excited to continue a fantasy book, to see what things are supposed to look like, what the characters are supposed to look like. I mean, all of them sound hot, I'm not gonna lie, so I'm sure the fan arts will do it justice. And I feel like the author is big enough that it'll probably have quite a bit of fan art. We're not doing too poorly to start off the vlog. Good morning, friends. We are about to head out to the grocery store. The cats are eating in the background, so you might be able to hear them. I am taking a couple things out of my purse, however, because I still have makeup brushes and powders and crochet things in here that we do not need to take to the grocery store. I also need to put the DJI camera, which is the little pocket camera I take with me everywhere. Need to put it in my purse, and then we also need to grab some reusable grocery bags. But it is currently 9:12 a.m. so I need to make a good time today when going grocery shopping. So we're gonna go grab everything real quick and then come back, and we'll properly chat when we come back. But good morning. Errands start bright and early. I also blow dried these front pieces today, but I think not very successfully because they look too bubbly. But we're gonna have to deal with it as is. I am going to sit down on my couch and get some reading done. I really want to continue A Fate Inked in Blood. Look at a cat. Look at a cat. Oh my god, hi baby. I want to sit down and continue A Fate Inked in Blood, as I was saying. And the bit where I'm at in the book right now is very much giving Skyrim energy. They're in this underground cave system, and there's Drogers or Draugrs. I'm not sure how to pronounce it, but it's the zombie-like creatures that appear in Skyrim in the underground systems and in the caves that you hate to go in because you know they're gonna be so hard to kill and they're gonna come at you in pairs of 5, and it's so difficult to clear the levels sometimes. And I'm having a great time because they just fought a ton, and I'm like, wait, Skyrim, is that you? Because I'm having a good time. So I'm gonna sit down, keep reading, and I'll come bearing updates once I am done. We also have to cook tonight. We have to do some meal prepping that I've been postponing all day because I'm very lazy today. However, it is very necessary to do it. So we'll get some reading done and then we'll cook. We're gonna cook some pollo guisado, some rice, and then some black beans. Maybe I'm starting too late, but it's fine. It's gonna be okay. friends, I am egg of the sausage, but I did manage to meal prep everything that I needed to cook today, and it is now residing in the fridge. I made some white rice, pollo guisado, and then some black beans. So today's purpose is finalized, which was to cook all of that before we started the full week, and I could have some food ready so that I can just reheat, especially when I come back from Taekwondo tomorrow, that I know I will not be in the mood to cook. So that is ready. I also read about 60 pages of A Fate Inked in Blood, but we're gonna talk about that in bed because I am so I am so freaking exhausted. All I want is to brush my teeth, put on my mouth guard, and then head right into bed so that I can get a good night's rest, because that cooking took it out of me. I should have started cooking a lot earlier, but I was stubborn. I was so lazy. I didn't want to know anything about cooking, and then by the time I was done, it was like 9:30, and it is currently now 11 p.m. So it is time for me to turn in. I have got nothing else to do awake. However, this is getting juicy. The drama is ensuing. I got theories that I can't quite say because they're very, very spoilery, but let's get settled in bed and we'll chat a little bit before I officially turn in. A Fate Inked in Blood is getting so juicy. I said it earlier, but I will reiterate it. This is to a point where it is super tense, action-packed. I feel twists coming, and I feel like I know what those twists are gonna be, specifically concerning Bjorn, Snorri, and King Harald. I have a theory in that realm that I think is going to pan out to be true. At least I am hoping so. I'm not sure to what extent, but there is one specific thing that I've been thinking the whole time. It might be this. There's some cautious wording, I feel, specifically in regards to Bjorn, that I'm kind of catching on to, that I feel might pan into a twist at some point. So we'll see if it does or if it doesn't, but I just want to put it out there just in case I am right. I'll circle back once I'm either there or done with the book if it decides to come up in this one. And another thing I'm loving is getting to see Freya discover the depth of her power, and other things show up as well in terms of her godly blessings that neither she or anybody else truly expected. I also think there's something very particular about the way that her fate seems to be woven to that of Bjorn. I'm not sure, again, to what extent that'll be and how that'll pan out at the end, but I think to me certain things are lining up in a very specific way that I think certain characters have misconstrued to be something else, or have believed them to be a very specific thing but are truly not, and it definitely involves other people. I'm trying to be very vague here while trying to say what I mean, but that aspect of the book I'm really loving because it has me on the edge of my seat till I potentially find out if I'm right or not, or what's gonna happen with the prophetic side of the story, because the whole thing is that a seer essentially sees Freya as the person that will help a king be crowned, essentially, and to unite a fractured kingdom. And I am not so sure, because you know the thing about fortunes, right? It all depends on who's saying it, how people interpret it, and so many different factors, all the way down to how a person will act. And this book makes a huge emphasis of that, which I honestly really am enjoying, which is these characters' fates are unwritten and they're figuring out everything as they go. And one move that is slightly off kilter, just a millimeter different to what is written or foreseen, completely changes the path and the trajectory of everything. And that is typically what we say when we talk about fate, when we talk about fortune, is these things are so quickly changing because people are making choices every minute, every second of every day. Imagine all the possibilities that spawn just for doing a little something just a little different. So that emphasis of the book I am very much enjoying. But yeah, there's something about the way that the prophecy was read and interpreted, I'm like, it's coming across very fishy, very suspicious to me, and I am not buying it. So I'm curious to see how that'll pan out later on in the story. But right now, I am going to head to bed, sis. I am going to sleep because I am so tired. And I will see you tomorrow morning. You might be able to hear a cat scratching the couch in the background because Vin is going to town. But you know those mornings when you're just rushing through everything and you can't seem to quite find your footage? Literally, did I request this to the right space? Please hold. Okay, yes, I did. I'm having one of those days where I cannot find my footing. I seem to be rushing through everything. I've just requested the Uber to go out to Taekwondo because I have Taekwondo class in 20 minutes. So I'm heading out a little bit later than I would typically like to. I am going to take my little camera and microphone so that I can potentially record a little something for you guys while I'm there so that we can collect a little bit of B-roll and maybe we can chat before and after class. But the plans today are to head out to Taekwondo, then we're gonna come back home, we're gonna have lunchies, and after we have lunch, we are going to head out to the bookstore we were in on Saturday, because I'm gonna go with Gabby so she can drop off a few of her bookmarks that she's selling at the store, and then we're likely just gonna be there, chat for a little bit. That same plaza has the hair salon that I go to. I took up a subscription, $35 to get unlimited blowouts every month. Let me tell you, worth the money. So I'm going to cross the plaza and then go get my hair done. I am going to take my Kindle so that I can read Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I can finally give you guys an update on that. I did read a little bit more of A Fading Thin Blood this morning, but it's, you know, it's still keeping that same momentum. So not anything new to chat about. However, Bury Our Bones, we have quite a bit to talk about that. And I definitely want to make more progress today, especially as I get my hair washed and then as I get the blowout. That's going to be a solid, like, I would say hour to a little over an hour where I'm going to have the chance to just read while I'm sitting there. So that's going to be really nice to make more progress with the book. Last time I took my Kindle with me and I read Bury Our Bones, I read about 70 pages while I was sitting there. So not too shabby, but for right now, Taekwondo. The Uber is 2 minutes away, so I'm going to wait for it downstairs so that I can run to class because I don't know what traffic is looking like. It's just one of those days. Y'all, what to do when you have 2 pages left and you have a cat sitting on your book. I would love to know some pointers because I really want to finish this book. I think I have like a page and a half left and she's just sitting on it and I don't want to take her off it. She's such a baby. Seal, are you a baby? Are you a baby? Yeah. Oh, look at that little biscuit. Look at that little biscuit on the page. Baba's always trying to eat the hair, y'all. No, she just wants to eat hair. Okay, no, I get no rights. None at all. Oh, what a mighty huntress we have here, y'all. All right, y'all, 3 Doritos later, and I managed to finish the book and still lounging here. However, I did go get my hair done. Hello. Oh my god, she has fresh hair. So hair is freshly done. Love that the most. I didn't vlog anything after Taekwondo because I am too shy sometimes when out on the streets and doing my things and still trying to bite everything around her. But yeah, I don't want to like inconvenience people when I'm out and about doing things. So when I was getting my hair done, I was like, I don't want to ask the stylist if she's okay with me recording. So I didn't. I did sit down and read some of Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil. I need to give you an update on that. We'll switch spots for that. However, as I sit here, having recently finished A Fading Thin Blood, I just want to break the news, announce. I'm giving it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Snorri's a piece of shit. I love Bjorn. Freya's starting to get on my nerves. Low-key kind of love Harold, and I want more answers as to that whole situation. Hope we get them all in book 2, because that's all we have, because it's only a duology. I thought it was a full series, and it was a little confusing, because the series is called The Saga of the Unfaded, right? It's literally right there. Yeah, Saga of the Unfaded, which saga to me is not equated to that of a duology. Like, I typically associate saga with something that's like 7 books long, or something that's eternal. However, 2 books, so we don't have that much space to do the most, and I've heard that book 2 is not as good as book 1, which is low-key really intimidating. I really enjoyed the end. I love where the book is going. It was a little predictable, I think, for me specifically, having read things like this before, and I think things specifically associated with, again, fate and forging your own path, and things meaning something different than how people are interpreting them. So I think part of me knew where the book was headed all along, and while it panned out exactly like I was thinking in some regards, it didn't fully take away from the experience, which I did end up enjoying. I think the main reason why I'm giving it 4 stars instead of 5, despite really enjoying the book, is simply the fact that although the book has a lot of emotional moments, emotionally heavy ones, specifically, you know, character losses and deaths and a lot of gruesome moments, I didn't particularly feel anything for the characters that we lost along the way. And I think it's partly because of how annoyed I was at Freya, because she was, god dang, she was clueless, but also infuriating, not cooperative, too submissive at times, which I understand given her circumstances, but I think I was spending a lot of time just mad at her and the choices she was making, that it took away from me potentially feeling things for certain characters. And also, while these losses might have meant something to her, they didn't particularly mean anything to me as the reader, because we don't get a lot of time with said characters, if any time at all. Like, sometimes we just hear of these characters and then we see them once and then we lose them. And so because of the circumstances surrounding their loss and surrounding how they treated Freya and what they have meant for her, they didn't particularly mean anything. So I think that emotional factor to the book was kind of lost in the midst of every bit of chaos happening throughout the plot, which was a little to the book's own detriment, but also I still enjoyed it regardless, but it definitely didn't give me like that 5-star feeling, if that makes sense. But I have news for you. And these news might actually be a little devastating for some. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts down in the comments, but I think I'm gonna have to DNF Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I got 26% in. I am 142 pages into the book, and I simply cannot do it. Anytime I pick up this book, I am slogging my way through it. I am not interested enough, and I have reasonings that I think in my head sound both justified and unfair, because I feel if I give it a chance enough, I might be able to get more into it. But 25% in, I should know if a book is like hooking me and if I'm really interested in it. So to give you the rundown of what I've gathered so far with this book, because the plot is very meandering, I don't particularly love the writing style, and like I said at the beginning of the vlog when I opened it, I just think I have to embrace that VE Schwab might not be for me. The book is also said to be in conversation with Interview with a Vampire, and I can't say at this point in time I can see it. I don't know if I'm the only one that can't see it. Maybe it starts kicking in later on. But as the book opens, we follow Maria in the 1500s in Spain, who has been raised with the idea that she has to be an obedient, loyal wife. She needs to give in to the desire of her husband. She needs to be dutiful. She needs to carry a baby and comply with all of the normative things that women used to do back in that era. All of this, however, against her will, because she is a free spirit. She wants nothing to do with these shackles that might be tying her down. She doesn't want to be married. She doesn't want to be told what to do. And she definitely doesn't want to give a baby to a man that she holds no affection toward. In fact, she is very much queer. She realizes kind of later on that she is queer and that she's not specifically into men. Because obviously at the beginning of the book, we know that she's gay as hell, but like she doesn't know it yet. And she's like, it must be this man. And we're like, bestie, no, it's just all men for you specifically. Another POV that we get is Alice in 2019, as she is in college and traversing life as a college student. We see her in her first chapter literally go to bed with a woman named Lottie. We don't know anything about Lottie, however. We do get chapters from her later on. We just don't quite know who she is at this point in the story. But we know that those are the three different POVs that we follow, the three different women tied to vampirism in some way, shape, or form that tie up the story into this tale of vampirism and sapphic vampires, toxic vampires, and everything else that it promises. I find that the book is very slow, which is not a bad thing, mind you, but you have to compensate somewhere, right? If the plot of the book is slow, then give us good commentary, give us good characters, give us good character motivations, and that way that'll keep me as the reader, in my reading experience, hooked enough to get to a point where the plot does get interesting. You'll also hear Vin playing in the background. That's just what we do in the living room. However, none of those things are being met. So the plot is really slow. None of the characters are compelling. The sapphic-ness so far is very subdued. I don't know if it'll kick up later on. I would have loved to see toxic lesbian vampires immediately. We are not. It's going through the typical conventions of a vampire story. So we're seeing Maria turn into a vampire, discover all of the limitations and all of the freedom that comes with being a vampire. Again, all very seen before things. So not only is the plot slow, so you have to give us something else to keep us hooked throughout the story, but then the plot is the same as every other vampire story, so you have to give us something else to keep us hooked within the experience. At least for me, as somebody who has consumed a shit ton of vampire content throughout her lifetime. So not only do we not get an interesting plot and a slow plot, but we also just get the same commentary that we always get when it comes to female vampires in the 1500s. Let's start there, which is the first thing that we see. Being a dutiful wife, being the girly pop who has to comply to every demand, the girl who seeks freedom and who wants to be rid of all of these not only demands, but also expectations, and having a husband who's a piece of shit, and meeting somebody who will free her of this life that she doesn't want to be a part of. Think because it's not doing anything new, even on the side of commentary, and the commentary is also not being done particularly well or nuanced. It's just saying these things very straightforwardly in the same way that A Fate Inked in Blood did, which is part of the reason why the book felt a little lackluster to me. Is it maddening? Yeah, like you're gonna be mad at these husbands, Vragi in the specific case of A Fate Inked in Blood, who was a piece of shit to Freya, and then you're gonna be mad at Andres in this one in behalf of Maria, but then what to it? It's another story with the same commentary as always, with the same dynamic as always, and I wish that we would get I don't know, more oomph to it. And I don't know in what regard I'm asking this for, to be quite honest. I'm just talking out of my ass. But because it's not bringing anything new to the table, I just feel like not reading it, if that makes sense. I also, on the other hand, feel like I'm not giving it a fair chance because I'm DNF'ing it early enough, and I still have about like 400 pages to go. That is a lot of pages to go to change the tides of the book. Do I have the patience to do that though? I don't think so, not at this point in time. So I feel like I have to let it go, not to mention that I am hating Alice's POV. It is so rambly and so yappy and almost disorienting, which she is very disoriented, to be fair. That doesn't mean that I have to particularly enjoy it. And so anytime she's yapping, it's so hard for me to focus on what she's saying, and I'm not even kidding. I think my ADHD is battling with whatever she's going through, because when I tell you, I'm trying to read what she's saying and it's going through one and going out the other. Not really because I'm reading it with my eyes, but like, you know, somewhere out there, it's poofing away. So I fear I have to let it go, which in turn makes me more excited to pick up a book that I feel in time, I'm not going to pick it up right now, but that in time might give me what I'm looking for in, you know, the lesbian toxic vampire space. And that is This Ravenous Fate by Haley Dennings. I trust Haley more than I do V.E. Schwab, and I'm gonna say that right here, right now. In due time, we will pick up This Ravenous Fate. I really want to get a physical copy, so we need to get on that because I've not seen it in any store here in Panama. So that's definitely gonna have to be a Barnes order. However, we need to choose something else to read because I don't know what to pick up next after a 4-star immediately followed by a DNF. The Thursday Murder Club is coming out this week, and I did think about picking it up potentially because I started it a while ago and I never finished it. So I'm like, listen, maybe we restart the audiobook as I'm crocheting, and that could be cute. That way I could have it done by the time that the TV show is coming out. Is it a TV show or a movie? Oh, that's a great question. I actually don't know. Whichever one it is, it could be cute to have it done by then. Will I? I'm not sure. And am I in the mood for a thriller? I also don't know. I had to go fetch my phone, but the book is 12 and a half hours on audio. I very well could do that, and I think we could have it done by, when's the show? Movie? Is it a show or a movie? I genuinely have got no idea. I think it's a TV show. Oh, it's a movie. Oh, I thought this was a TV show. Well, fuck me then, because I was definitely wrong. Why did I think it was a TV show? It's a whole ass movie. We're gonna go peruse in the office and we're gonna look for other options, and depending on what happens, we might be picking this up because I need to make progress. I haven't even shown you guys this. I'm currently working on a star blanket and it's very exciting. It's coming along beautifully. It's a huge project to undertake though, so it could be helpful to just crochet away. And I do have sprints tomorrow with my patrons, so this could technically work out. Let's go to the office. I think decisions have been made, friends. You're also going to excuse this light right here. Apparently, Vin walked into the office at some point and ripped it out because my daughter destroys these lights every once in a while. You can see that one of these rows is gone because she ripped it out. I had to remove it completely, but that one's fixable because I just need to remove the sticky because it won't stick back on the shelves. However, I did pick the Thursday Murder Club out of the shelves because if I really think about it, I don't technically need to finish the book by Thursday. It would be lovely for the concept of actually finishing the book in the vlog, but I also pulled out A Sign of Affection volume 11, which, ooh, do I want to read this tonight or do I want to read the other one tonight? Ooh, that's a good question. But I did pull this out because I'm like, maybe it is the newest volume. I was technically saving this for a finishing series vlog as a little palette cleanser, but I feel like this might be a cute little moment to read together in this vlog. The star blanket, however, resides in this tote bag because it's starting to get to the point where it's so big and I'm using so many different skins that I have to keep it all in a single place. So this is what I have resorted to, is I just have a bag full of yarn, full of all of my supplies, full of the blanket so that I can just take this with me anywhere if I want to go out crochet somewhere else, or if I want to crochet in my room, whatever it is, I can just carry this one bag with a single project around everywhere. And let me show you how this is looking so far. I'm not sure it'll fit completely on frame, but this is what it's looking like. I did mess up, however, because I thought I was going to be mixing different materials so that I could use different colors from Lion brand, which is the main yarn brand that I buy from. So I thought I was going to be using different materials from them, and I use this sort of t-shirt yarn around the middle of the star, and I kind of wish I hadn't done it, because later I fully made the decision that I was only going to use their 24/7 cotton yarn, and now I feel like it's, to me at least, it stands out like a sore thumb, but otherwise I really am loving the way that this is coming along. It is beautiful. I think the colors I chose are stunning, and I can't wait to see this just fully ready to go. But this right now, it covers one of my legs. It doesn't cover it all, and it's big. I didn't realize how big this project was, and I'm using individual skeins, which I think is going to be killer, because I thought, in my delusion, when I read the instructions, that it was gonna be about, I think it was 1,700 yards of yarn. But I didn't realize that was for the baby star blanket. So for the adult one, it's an extra 1,000 skeins of yarn. So I definitely would have been cheaper, if I would have just bought a cake, and I would have used that a lot. I would have saved a lot of money, but now we are fully invested in single skins, and it's gonna look stunning by the end of it. It's definitely one of those projects that we're gonna take very slowly, because you know, you can amass quite a big a big sum of money to be spent if you're doing it this way. So I'm going slowly. I haven't run out of any skins yet, and it's looking quite big, and I still have all of this to get through. I'm using orange. I'm using like this, I guess, would this be like a Barbie pink? Maybe a little lighter than that, I'm not sure. I'm also using like this lilac shade, using this magenta. I have this other sort of lilac purple shade. It's a little bit darker than this, which is why I feel they complement each other quite well. I'm using this baby pink. I'm using yellow also, which is the one that I haven't fastened off yet because I need to change colors for the next round. I am using this sort of baby blue shade, and then this Tiffany blue right here. And I'm also alternating between different hooks because I think it looks better. And I've also been told that you need to keep several, after reading the pattern, because I'm a studied woman, after reading the pattern, it says that you're technically supposed to have 3 different hook sizes. So your main one, whatever it is that you're using, then 1.5 millimeters smaller, and then 0.5 millimeters bigger. So we're just alternating between a ton of things, but it's fun actually to do all this. It's a lot of work, and the rounds get long as you go, and I've had to mark them all because otherwise I will absolutely forget which one's the round 2 and which one's the round 7. So if you see right here, in this specific row, I have several stitch markers that are alerting me that that's like a round 2, that's a round 2, and that way I know how to better count them out, because otherwise I do not know which round I am on, let me tell you that much. So there's that. Those are my updates at this moment in time. I think what my heart desires is to sit in bed and listen to this audiobook and crochet. I feel like that sounds really nice, like a nice way to end the day. And that way I can make some progress on the Thursday Murder Club, or we might just stay in the living room actually because the AC is on. Whichever one ends up happening. morning, friends, and welcome to a new day. Today is Wednesday. We are off to a really productive start. I woke up really early today and I have been cleaning, tidying up, and doing tasks that I've been postponing for quite a bit now. I still have quite a bit to go, and I will take you through all of it. I bought some crystals recently, so I need to cleanse those, need to figure out where in the apartment I'm going to put them, and by I need to do it, I mean I bought these crystals about 3 weeks ago and I've not done it yet. So we need to do that. I'm currently boiling some eggs. I need to make myself a little pita bread sandwich for breakfast. I have been reading, listening to the Thursday Murder Club. I did listen to a little bit of this last night as I was crocheting. I did do a full round of the Star Blanket. Then I read with my eyes this morning, and then I switched right on over to the audiobook as I started cleaning, because it was truly a burst of inspiration. Was I planning on cleaning this morning? Not really, not more than I typically do, because I do wake up every morning and I do like certain cleaning things to make sure that the apartment is clean. However, we went beyond that. I've been tidying up closets and drawers and things that I was not anticipating doing. However, I have been reading the Thursday Murder Club and I am really enjoying my time with it. I am a big believer of often the book is not at fault for you not enjoying it, but it's simply not the right time. And I started this book a year ago, and a year ago I was not clicking with it because I thought it was too wordy and my brain was not snapping in with it. And this go around, I am eating this up. So I am currently on chapter 24, which is page 86. I have already surpassed where I got to last time, and I am so excited to keep on going. I am really enjoying how these characters are so cunning and so sly with their actions, and how they are often trying to pass on by as the senile elderly group of people that, you know, have been abandoned by their families and who are out of their wits and that are closer to dying than not to get exactly what they want. And to see the perspective of characters that fall victim to that is hilarious. There's this whole mention of how Ron is wearing mismatched pajamas and then a jacket on top of it and then dress shoes on top of it, and the detective is going, oh my God, poor guy. Like, he's so disoriented and so old. And I'm like, if you would have seen Ron a couple of chapters ago, he was ready to go to bat with DNF'd. He was fighting for his life. Another thing I'm really enjoying this go around is the different perspectives that we get in the book. So we not only get to follow the Thursday Murder Club very closely, so you get to see Elizabeth's POV and Joyce's and Abraham's and Ron's, but you also get to follow Ian Bentham, who is the owner of Cooper's Chase, the retirement home that they all reside in, who evidently is not a good person and who cares for nothing except his own pocket and the way that he interacts with the world, the way that he views people and views everything as currency and something to be gained. I truly want to get inside this book and punch this man silly. Like, I am not opposed to beating up a 50-year-old. Bring him in right now. Put me in a ring and give me 5 seconds with him. I promise you he will not be a little piece of shit by the end of it. I am so infuriated anytime I have to read from his perspective. The way this man parks in the handicap spot just because he can, because it's closer to the entrance, not actually because he's handicapped. Dude, I was ready to slap him silly. Like, you guys have no idea. So we not only get these perspectives, but we also get to see Donna de Freitas, who is a police officer that the Thursday Murder Club very easily takes to. She goes and does different speeches at Cooper's Chase, and so they want her involved in the investigation simply because they want to get information out of her. And then we also get to see Chris Hudson, her higher up, who is actually the lead of the investigation of the murder that we see in this specific book. So to give you the overall synopsis of what's happening here, we have got Joyce, Ibrahim, Ron, and Elizabeth, who all reside in Cooper's Chase, a retirement home, and as part of their daily living, they get different entertainment activities, different rooms, kind of enrichment activities to keep them as entertained as possible, because this is supposed to be a luxury establishment, the first of its kind. Not really, we know it's the 7th, so it's not really anything special, but they do get different things to choose from so that they can keep themselves active. As part of their activities, they have formed the Thursday Murder Club. Elizabeth formed it with her friend Penny in order to investigate different cold cases and be the sleuths that they were meant to be. Slowly but surely, Elizabeth ends up recruiting different people, first Ibrahim and then Ron and ultimately Joyce, especially because Penny is no longer involved with the club. And at the start of the book, we see that Ian Ventham is speaking about the retirement home and how he has plans to expand. However, his expansions plan do not include his business partner Tony Curran, who owns 25% of all assets to do with Cooper's Chase. He expresses how terrified he is that Tony might actually kill him because of the news broken to him that he no longer wants to partner with Tony. I will assume that he wants to buy him out or something of that extent. And then one day, Tony Curran actually turns up dead with a photograph next to him depicting 3 different people who are now, I will assume, also the lead suspects of the investigation. As the universe would have it though, the Thursday Murder Club finds out about the murder and they are ready and willing to investigate it alongside the police, even though they're not supposed to. Obviously, they're civilians. It goes from there. I am at the spot where they're figuring out how best to get involved in the investigation. And again, it is hilarious to see these group of people who evidently have nothing to do with their time want to get so invested and involved in the investigation and going through every avenue available to them to make sure that they get exactly what they want. They play up their aloofness, they play up their elderliness, they play up their helplessness in order to manipulate people to their favor, which I mean is something I think we've all gone through with grandparents and great-grandparents, or if your parents are in the older end of things. There's always like the little snide comments that they'll make, which, you know, can often be infuriating, but can often also be hilarious as they're trying to fish for things that they want without outwardly asking for them. And I think the way that Richard Osman has turned something so very mundane into something sort of extraordinary, specifically as they're trying to investigate a murder, I think is so very cool. I think I just love seeing meddlesome elderly people. I think it's so entertaining for some reason, and this is definitely not disappointing. Something that I remember about the experience when reading this last year was how, because obviously these characters in their majority are older except for Donna, who is 25, we get to see a cast of characters that is somewhat out of tune with the world but trying to be hip at the same time. So there are insensitive-esque comments or outdated comments, but they're like, oh, but I guess you can't say that now, or I guess this is not acceptable now, which in a way, even though we as the reader can understand that it's definitely not the right thing to say sometimes, is very akin to what this generation acts like. And I think all of us have experienced people like that who, again, try and be hip and try to understand, but they were wired a very different way. And I think it has its own level of hilarity, though at times I can be like, okay, Richard, that's a little much. But overall, I'm really enjoying the book, and I'm really enjoying seeing these characters almost look for something to make them feel useful and active, which I think is the biggest thing about this book. There's a point which Joyce mentions that now she has to have her phone on her at all times because Elizabeth might call, which is not really something that she used to do. And so in a way, it makes her feel wanted and appreciated, and it makes her feel like she has got this group around her supporting her. This just really works because every character is so different, and that's, I think, something that is hard to nail in a book like this. I feel making sure that each character has such a distinct voice, but they do. And I'm really appreciative of the way that Richard Osman has written this in a way that gives each character their own sense of individuality that comes across so clearly through dialogue, where you can distinguish where each character is speaking just because their mannerisms are so distinct. And characterizing people that way, I find, is probably one of the hardest things to do, especially without making them seem caricature. So it's really, really good so far. I'm having a great time. I am going to keep reading throughout the day, keep updating you as I obviously do all of the other things we have got to get done. I have sprints today with my patrons at 5. Link has already gone up. Everything is scheduled and ready to go. Spirit City Lo-Fi Sessions also released their DLC a couple of days ago. That's the timer that I use for all of my sprints, and they release downloadable content every once in a while that you can pay for so that you can get different areas to catch spirits and be productive in. And they released a train DLC, which is very exciting. So I got that this morning. We're gonna use it later today. It's very exciting. We do have Taekwondo in a couple of hours, so I need to make sure to make that sandwich and eat because I'm just here yapping and food needs to get into this body before we can train. So we're gonna do that and hopefully read while I'm having brekkie, because why not? Friends, it is much later in the day and I have updates for you. So I did sprints with my patrons. It was fantastic. Had some dinner. We just finished. I have been reading the Thursday Murder Club, alternating between reading with my eyes, listening to the book, as I have been crocheting my star blanket, which I have made quite a bit of progress in. Just sitting here crocheting. So very nice. I'm trying to show you the whole thing while not blocking myself fully, but just know this is coming along beautifully. I'm obsessed with her and I definitely want to keep listening to the book and making more progress tomorrow. However, I did get to page 164, which is the start of chapter 53, and I've got theories that I don't want to disclose too much because they might be spoilery. But the entire book, for context, the book opens with the killer visiting their victims, and they basically say that this is not something that they should do, but they find themselves doing sometimes. And they're carrying with them a cigarette, which they also shouldn't do, but it's their only vice. And the entire book, I have been looking for a character that smokes. Just based on that one single mention. And I did find somebody on chapter 47. If you know, then you might know. And they were mentioned to have an e-cigarette with them. And I'm like, well, if you have an e-cigarette, most people, unless they're younger, but specifically for older folk, if you're using an e-cigarette, that most likely means that you went through a heavy smoke phase and now this is your way to get out of the vice while still giving your body that which it craves. So I'm like, maybe it's this person. It very well could not be though. There was another character that was recently described as having a temper, and the character is showing up kind of in the background very passively. And typically with mysteries, I find that it's always, if done well, the most unassuming character that has the best quote-unquote reasoning as to having done a specific something. So maybe these two characters could be it. They're my prime suspects at the moment because they do fit that mold of they're quite unassuming, but they've been described as something that could fit the murderer. So maybe, you know what? Perhaps. I'm really excited to see what they have done with the movie and to see how it compares to the book and see how they managed to personify these characters that I'm growing to really care for. Because these are just elderly people who want to feel useful and who want attention where they might not be getting that much of it. And think it's a very human way of approaching the world, especially as that age. Because, I mean, you already know what the people say. As you get older, it's almost like you become disposable and forgettable, and the amount of attention and love that you get starts becoming very minimal, and these characters are finding this sense of found family and love and appreciation amongst each other, maybe through the weirdest of circumstances, because, you know, they're investigating murders, but, you know, as they befriend each other as the Thursday Murder Club, but then they also start befriending Donna de Freitas and Chris Hudson, it really gives these characters a sense of appreciation that I don't think they felt in a while. And that aspect of it, I think, is the most special part of this. And I think in comparison to Bury Our Bones, whose biggest crime was being a boring bitch, I think this is a nice turn of events. This one I'm enjoying a lot more. And I truly was not expecting Bury Our Bones to be that bland. And you know what? Not all of us can have seasoning. That's okay. But yeah, not all of us can be entertaining. I'm so sorry. So this one's a great time. I'm glad I picked this up, and I'm happy that I get to watch the movie right after. I think it's gonna be really, really nice. And although I would love to stay here for another full week with y'all, I do have to say this is it for today. I am really excited to finish this book over the course of the next 2 days, put this vlog up for you guys to watch, and start another vlog that I think is going to be really, really fun. So can't wait to do all of those things, and for those to happen, this vlog has to come to an end. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up down below. Comment if you've read any of these books. Have you read The Thursday Murder Club, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil, A Fate Inked in Blood? What did you think of them? Are you excited about the Thursday Murder Club movie? I would love to hear any and all thoughts down in the comments. I'm hoping that by the time this video goes up, I would have already finished the Thursday Murder Club. I feel like that would be my ideal. Will it have happened? Maybe. One of you can ask me if I did, and I'll reply in the comments and see where we're at. However, if you reach the very end of the video, let us leave some knife emojis for the Thursday Murder Club. Technically, he was bludgeoned to death, but still, I feel like a knife, sleuthing, kind of makes sense, or any detective magnifying glass emojis, any of those could work for the Thursday Murder Club. If you reach the very end, you know what to do. And if you want more content from yours truly, you already know where to go. Patreon is truly the one stop to support the channel further, to get more content, to get the live shows, to unlock a lot of other fun that you might not get to see on the main channel. So if you ever want to support the channel further, that is definitely the way to go. I will soon be announcing all of the September activities, as well as putting up a poll for the October and November book club picks. So if you want to vote, now would be the time to sneak into the server so that you can be a part of all of the shenanigans when it comes to the Citadel. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already for more content like this, and I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye!